Okay, so we are live. Welcome to another Don't Be a Zombie, How to Regain Your Purpose and Fulfill Your Dreams. So far we've talked about what are your dreams, and we've recorded them. We've talked about those things that you feel frustrated about, that you feel are holding you back, and about how to write them down. Just write them down, and how can you get past them, right? Just off the top of your head, what things could help you overcome those items. And now, what we're going to talk about is understanding the nature of change and its impact on personal growth. So, when I first started my journey to rediscover my purpose, I couldn't really acknowledge everything that I had accomplished. And what I mean by that is, I just felt like people were blowing smoke up my butt. Whenever they gave me credit on for something or congratulated me on something that I'd done, anything from you know finding an amazing new talent to starting a publication to winning an award to helping someone in their own journey and succeed in their own things. So like I still remember when I first was exploring being an editor. And I had an old friend who he reached out to me and he was like, "Hey, you know what? You seem to have a lot of connections. Would you like to be one of our editors for this teeny little online publication called the Pick a Lotta Review?" And I was like, "You know what? Sure, why not?" So I remember he had me as part of the acquisition team, and there was this one short story that I was like, "You guys, we have to publish this." And for whatever reason, they felt like it was controversial. And I thought, I don't understand. It's gorgeously written. It's a wonderful narrative. This is a story that I don't think is really often told. To me, this is perfect. We have to publish this, right? Well, eventually they gave in. But there was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of debate among the editors on whether, and honestly, I basically put my foot down and I said, "You guys suck. Like, we have to publish this," right? Well, that author was Jamie Ford, and that short story was the what you could say like the beginnings of Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. And Jamie was kind enough to befriend me on social media, and we would talk a lot again on social media, on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that. And I told him, I'm like, "Jamie, you need to make this into a novel. This to me is clearly it's meant to be a novel, right?" So fast forward several years later, Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet had been published. It became this multi-million best-selling phenomenon. And I still remember I was depressed. I was on a flight returning from a writers conference where I really honestly I just felt like why did I go? Right? I had met with several agents who all basically were like, "Oh, you're so cute. Pat, pat, pat. Like, why am I talking to you?" My workshop leader was wonderful and incredibly inspiring and kind. But I didn't get out of it what um what I wanted. In my mind, I was going to go to this writer's workshop. I was going to meet with agents. They would realize how amazing I am. And then they would, bring me on and all that. None of that happened. Right. By the way, that rarely happens, at least in my experience, that rarely happens. Anyway, I had bought Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet, and I opened it because and I'm one of those weirdos. I start reading a work from the beginning, like from the acknowledgments all the way onward. And I had no idea that Jamie had given me credit for discovering him. And oh my God, that meant the world, but I couldn't own it, right? Even when I think I read it like 10 times, meaning like I read the acknowledgments 10 times because I'm like, he's got to be talking to some other person named Lisa Kastner, who's an editor for the Piccolata Review. I mean, it was so incredibly kind of him to do that. And I mean, you can tell even now, right? For me to get this emotional, I mean, I still have problems owning the fact that I was able to help someone in that way, right? I was able to identify such incredible talent and really help them in their own journey. These are the kinds of things that we need to look at within ourselves, right? Like I said, I mean, when someone like Jamie, even now, when I go back and I look at those things that I accomplished, I still feel like a failure in many ways because, you know, even though they're giving me this phenomenal credit in my head because I didn't get done what I wanted to get done, right? I think, well, can't they see? I mean, don't they understand? I'm nothing. Like, I'm not worth their praises. And because in my head, I believed that until I would reach a certain level of success, right? And in my mind, that was a global bestseller author who wrote full time and spent all of her time focused on telling great stories and just sharing those stories with others. And, you know, then in my mind, I then I would only that's when I would be considered successful. Otherwise, I just simply could not consider myself a success. And again, at the time, I didn't understand that every moment of rejection, every bit of feedback, every class I took, every mentor I worked with, each conference I attended, I mean, every single moment would provide new learnings or provided new learnings and just really was another opening towards my path. And like if I think of where I am today, right? So I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and Rise Presses. We've published multiple stories that have been named among the best of the year. We've had multiple starred reviews. We've had books that have multiple books that have won awards, right? My own stories, my own novels have received amazing accreditation. I've been blessed to have been taught by incredible people, and every failure, every rejection, every bit of feedback, every moment leading up to those moments made me who I was and who I am today. And that's what made me enabled me to be a success or to be the success that I am today, right? I still have tons I want to do. I still have tons I know I'm going to do and I know I'm going to accomplish. And everything that has led up to this moment has created this path. I mean, I actually remember when I was first accepted to Bread Loaf Writers Conference. And in literary circles, that is considered one of the most iconic conferences in North America. I nearly fell over. I mean, I think I really, honestly, I think I did cry uh, because I knew that maybe 20% of people who submit their work to Breadloaf's Writers Conference actually get accepted. Think about that. That means 80% are rejected. I went to Breadloaf like 4 times, 5 times. I mean, that to me is amazing. It's a miracle. And when I actually got in, to me, again, the me of then, I thought, okay, this is going to be the moment that truly breaks me through. In my head, only Pulitzer Prize winners, only New York Times bestsellers, only, National Book Award winning authors, or those who are destined to do that. ever actually make it to Breadloaf. So to me, this was what was going to break me through. Now, it didn't get me to the huge book deal or the literary agent. Not that I didn't meet a lot of literary agents. I did. I met plenty. I met plenty of other small press publishers as well. But what it did give me, it gave me learnings from the likes of Trey Ellis, which honestly, to this day, I'm in awe of having him as my workshop leader. It had me learn from the likes of Benjamin Percy. Those of you who are fans of horror literary, I mean, Benjamin's huge. He's brilliant. And among many, many others, I'm still in awe of the people that I had an opportunity to meet and to learn from. Joan Connor, who actually is this incredible author who I met and was a workshop, she was actually my mentor for several terms at the MFA program that I graduated from. And she's brilliant. And we now have the blessing to publish her stories. I mean, I think back on the friendships that I made at Breadloaf and Sewanee and SWA and Ohio Writers Conference and many, many others, from authors and aspiring authors. And I mean, these are friendships that I have even today. All of this gave me the recommendations, these experiences, these individuals, they gave me recommendations to other conferences. They taught me other literary techniques. They educated me on how to grow and expand in my writing. And even more so, it gave me insights into the business of creative writing, into the business of storytelling. And these were all insights that I absolutely desperately needed. And once I understood the business of storytelling, and I don't just mean this business of publishing, I mean the business of content creation across multiple platforms. So I'm talking about, you could be a short story writer, you could be a graphic novelist, you could be you could write for a TV show, maybe you write a screenplay for a film, maybe you are simply an oral narrative storyteller. Any type of content creation, any type of storytelling. Once I really more so understood the business of it, then I was able to be much more effective in my own pursuits, as well as in supporting others in theirs. So I had to get to a point where I could acknowledge my own wins along the way to help me have not only the confidence moving forward, but also to be able to mentally create those paths where I could see how different things related to one another. And then that obviously enabled me to become the person I am now. So with that, your homework. What I want you to do, I want you to go back and look at those successes that you've written down. What did you learn from each milestone? What was your takeaway? And those successes, to me, if you didn't win something, if you learned something from something that you didn't actually accomplish, that's great. It's a learning. To me, that learning is a success. So you want to write down, what did you learn from each milestone? How did you change or grow? Because those moments are what enable you to drive forward and accomplish all that you have done since then. Because you are at the moment where you will not only redefine your passion and find your true desires, but you will also be able to take these learnings and you're going to create your future. And with that, I want to thank you for joining me for another opportunity for us to talk about not being a zombie and how you're already making stuff happen. And I will see you guys next week. And until then, have a fantastic week.